These cheap Chinese brush hogs are taking over Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, and even your local auction. And I've seen them under a ton of names: Mower King, AGT, Rotary, Landowner, Swee, TMG. They're all made in the same factory. I've read a lot of bad reviews about them, but before you go and write these off, I've got 5 upgrades. We're gonna DIY them ourselves, and I'm gonna show you that after these upgrades, this unit is going to perform as well as a similar unit that's 2 and even 3 times the cost of this plus the upgrades. Now, if you want a full review of this, I'm going to put a link down below. I've already made a video on a review. We're going to cut down brush, cut a ton of grass. I'm even going to knock down some trees. Already did a full review. In this video, we're sticking to the upgrades. So let's get down to the 5 upgrades that I recommend. Plus, I'll give you a couple bonuses, and then stay tuned until the end. We're gonna do the total cost and time spent. Let's get to it. Upgrade your blades. This is why they call these Chinese throwing stars. That can go through your cab, through your window. This could literally kill you. Here's the original blade, and I want you to look at how little is dinged up on this edge. This was like 10 minutes worth of mowing, and this is the part that I really wanted to show. See all the imperfections in the metal? This shows you that this was not very dense, and why these blades are so dangerous when they break off. Think about how fast these are flying around and how dangerous that is in the cab. So you can just see how porous the metal is and just how low quality these are. Now this is an upgraded blade, and look at the thickness difference. This is AR 400 and just significantly better built. And I have an old blade. This is an example of one. I've been using this for a couple years. It has hit everything under the sun, but it is not compromised in any way. And this is the big importance. I mean, look at this. This thing has been absolutely hammered on all sides. This spins in one direction. That's why just one side is all messed up. But look at how many things this has hit versus this. Barely hit anything and already broke. So first thing I did was tilt it up, and I just threw the jack underneath it just for a little bit of safety. So let's get to work. To swap out the blades, this is what it looks like underneath the machine, and it's very simple. See this bolt, it has a cotter pin in it that you have to remove, and then you just take off the nut, and that's all that you have to do to swap a blade in and out. I'm not going to go through that process because it's about as easy as it gets. So that's how you take it out. Just remember there's a cotter pin up underneath. Before you start this up for the first time, this is your gearbox. Remove this filler cap, and you're going to put 85 or 90 weight gear oil. One of the biggest problems with this machine is people burn up the gearbox because they don't put oil in it when they first buy it. These do not come with any oil in them, and so you can burn these up really quickly if your first step isn't adding gear oil. And it takes about 2 quarts, quart and a half, and I just use either 85 or 90 weight gear oil, and that should be one of the first steps that you do when you buy this thing. Here's the next issue that we are having. We're going to move back to the gearbox, and there are 4 nuts and bolts that hold this onto the frame itself or the body. I don't know what grade these are, some Chinese grade, but these bolts will stretch, and when that happens, you'll be able to just grab these and twist them. They'll become so loose. So we want to take off each one of the 4 and use nice grade 8 bolts, nuts and washers, and tighten those back down, because this will start to move around. Doesn't matter how many times you tighten them, they'll just keep stretching out till they eventually break, which is a nightmare in itself. So replace all 4 of those bolts. This next part is pretty self-explanatory. We're going to swap out the bolts. These are grade 8. We're going to use thread lock as well as some locking washers. So let's put those in. And done. This is a perfect time to thank today's sponsor. Absolutely nobody. It takes me a lot of time to do these videos, and please show your support by hitting the like button, subscribing to my channel, better yet, leave a comment. All of those things help the YouTube algorithm. It's people engaging with the videos, and what YouTube does is it sends my video to more people. So that's all I ask for, is some thanks. What videos would you like to see me do next? Thank you for watching. Here is a side-by-side comparison of the stock unit versus what we are going to be upgrading with the new unit, switching to the Stump jumper. So let's go over each piece individually. Pretty easy to see why the Stump jumper is such a big upgrade. As this spins around, if you have something that sticks up, it's gonna bounce off of said, call this a stake in the ground, what it is, versus if this is spinning around, it hits it, and that is how you break this arm. Pretty easy to see why this broke. There is just such little metal holding this together. This arm is one of the weakest points of the design itself. Again, these are made to be cheap, but if you're spinning around with the same thing and you hit it on a stump jumper, literally that's what it's for, is to jump over those objects. So we're gonna swap these out. Stump jumper upgrade. Here's a direct comparison of the stock bolt that holds the blades in. And you can see one of the big downsides is this bolt wasn't used very long, but you can easily round this off, versus this is a countersunk. So the only thing, and you can see the notch that it has in it, so that's going to hold this in place. But if this head hits anything, it doesn't matter, because it's not needed as a bolt head to undo this nut. And it's also 3 times as thick, and these can break pretty easy. So obviously a massive upgrade in just the nuts and bolts holding the blade to the unit itself. There are multiple safeties on the upgraded blade bolt. It has the locking nut, it still has the cotter pin, but most importantly, it has a keyway. So it fits perfectly into this keyway. And look how well those go together. On the stock bolt, the blade actually rubs on these threads. You can see how worn out they are, which is going to make this bolt brittle. And here you actually have a spot for the bolt to sit. So it's inset, and it allows this to spin freely. So the blade can move all around without wearing down the bolt itself. So tons and tons of upgrades between these two units. Probably 10 times stronger overall. So I'm just going to build this real quick on the table, and then we'll just swap the entire unit onto the brush cutter itself. Now, despite this being super tight, look how easy these spin. So that's your first line of defense. If it's spinning around and that blade hits something, it can bounce back. It's not a solid object. So now we're on the underside, and very simple how this comes apart is take cotter pin out first and then take the nut off. This is just a splined shaft, so we're going to slide the stump jumper on top of it, put the nut back on, the locking cotter pin. Let's go ahead and do that. It's 1.5 inches. Pins in. Ready to go. Now for this next upgrade, we're going to move to the motor, and these are made to run off of any machine, so even the really old ones, but we want to add a K-strain because this really spins, and anything that spins is going to generate pressure, and then when you let off your hydraulics, that pressure has nowhere to go. That's what a K-strain is. It's just a pressure relief. So we're just going to pop this off, and I just robbed one of these off of another unit. So we're just going to add just like that. We now have a K-strain, so when this spools up, you let off, that extra fluid has somewhere to go. This is going to save not only the seals in your hydraulic motor, but also the seals on your machine, which that is a lot more valuable than this, but that pressure relief is one of the best upgrades that you can do on any attachment, but especially the faster they spin, the more you need this pressure relief, this K-strain. For our next upgrade, we're going to upgrade the hoses. The ones that come with it are very cheap. They're prone to leaking, so I upgraded to a thicker hose. It's also got the, I don't know, it's a spiral protector. It keeps it from ballooning. There's a 4,000 PSI hose. One really important thing to do is, the reason I have my machine like this is you want to tilt it the farthest away that your machine is going to be so that you have the correct measurement from your hose up to your connectors up top. So you want to tilt it all the way forward. Now it's not like you're going to mow like this, but sometimes you want to tilt it down and look at it, see if anything is caught. So first, put it in the spot that is going to be the longest distance of hose you need, and then measure that. So let's go ahead and get these installed. Already put pipe thread on there. All right, there we go. And this is what it looks like all done. We've got 2 new hoses as well as the K-strain. Much less likely to blow a hose now. Well, is this going to be the dumbest idea that I've had yet? I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I think that I can fix this. Can't be any more dangerous than it was already, right? So first thing I'm gonna do is make sure that it's square, that this side isn't bent, and how I'm gonna do that is just measure the distance from the pan to the blade all the way around. Yeah, so we're 1 1/8 inches all the way around, so at least this part isn't bent. So next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut a little piece that's 1 1/8 inches, and that is how I'm gonna place this broken piece perfectly balanced with this one here. All right, so we blocked this one side, clamped it together, but we also need to make sure that we're level. So we're also gonna do that. I was just about to start welding on this thing, and it's probably safe, but you know, it is connected to the machine, and I don't want to fry any of the electronics in my machine. It's kind of loose fitting here, and each joint, you know, has grease, so it's probably fine. I'm probably not gonna fry anything, but why take that risk? So I'm gonna disconnect this, so I'm welding on it while it's not connected, just to be safe. Now we're not touching anything. This is facing the back side. We've got it all level. I checked the spacing all the way around. It doesn't take much for it to be off, but it'll vibrate like crazy. So let's put it down and see if it works. Like $1 million bucks. Let's go test it out. After about 2 acres of mowing, my redneck repair has stood, but I broke a bolt, so I gotta put a new bolt in and put the blade back on. But look how hammered these blades are already. This is all the shit I've been hitting. But my repair is going good. It's surprisingly very well balanced. Probably better than the factory. All right, now that we've done all of these upgrades, let's talk about the most important part, and that's cost. And I'm just gonna break them down kind of in order. First one is just upgraded blades. The AR400 blades, $175. Upgrade your blades. Gearbox bolts, holding that gearbox in place. This is a very cheap upgrade, only about 10 bucks plus your fuel to drive to your local supply store. Now the stump jumper, the blades, the bolts, everything to do the full stump jumper upgrade is actually a pretty surprising cost in how low it is, in my opinion. $320 shipped to your house. I'm gonna have the links for everything down below. The case drain. Case drain is about a $60 hose and another $30 quick connect fitting. So 90 bucks and you can upgrade to a case drain, that pressure relief, save that hydraulic motor as well as your machine. The new hoses themselves, remember we already have the fittings, they come on it, so your quick connect fittings, we already have those so you don't have to buy them again. So it's 60 bucks a hose for a major upgrade, so 120 bucks total to upgrade the hoses. Now the blade arm fix, that was just a scrap piece of angle iron and about an hour of my time. So even if you don't have the skills to do that yourself, you could drop it off at a machine shop,
pay them for an hour of their time, call it $100. And if you need to get that thing back on the road, finish up a job you were trying to do, $100, that's pretty dang cheap to upgrade this arm. Or not upgrade it, but just repair it and keep using it. Now obviously you can't change the blades as well as the stump jumper, it's a different connection. So if we put everything together, the gearbox bolts, the stump jumper, the case drain, the new hoses, all of it combined is $540. And considering that I see these $2,000 all over Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, find them at auction. So 2,000, let's just use it as a base number. You might be a little more, a little less. So let's say you're 2,500 bucks all in for this thing. This is now comparable to a lot of the $5,000 brush cutters that I see on there. This thing leaves a lot to be desired in its stock form, but with all these upgrades, I have hundreds of hours on mine. Well worth it in my opinion. Is it a direct replacement for these $10,000, $12,000 units? Of course not. But for 2,500 bucks, you have a pretty bomb-proof unit. And the best part is, now every single one of these parts, you ever have an issue with it again, easy to replace. Just order a new one. I appreciate everybody watching this far. Thank you guys. See you in the next episode.